You're listening to the Hustled Up Podcast. I'm Laura Natoli.
And I'm Holly Silva, and we are best friends since birth turned multi-passionate entrepreneurs and co-owners of Chores and More, a successful service-based business where everybody is treated like a best friend.
Welcome to our show where tactical business education meets fun and real conversations about this wild journey called life.
Get ready to be inspired. Grab your headphones, turn up the volume, and let's hustle up.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to this week's episode of Hustle It Up. I am your host, Laura, and not to worry, Holly will also be joining us for today's episode. Really quickly, as always, you know what's coming. I have to ask you to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. Let us know if you're loving the podcast. It really helps encourage us to keep going and keep busting out these episodes. All right, had to wrap that up quickly because I am so excited for today. It is straight fire, this episode, and I feel like I say that every single week, but I'm really being honest because today we had the absolutely amazing pleasure of chatting with our friend Jen Rodgers, and she's amazing. She owns multiple businesses. She has a cleaning company called Just Peachy Clean, a coaching business called Profit Pathways. She also has her own podcast, which she'll tell you all about. We really dove into all of her businesses, and we also dove into the fact that she shares the same passion that we do when it comes to helping fellow entrepreneurs. She is very, very giving and passionate about helping people and giving back. So we talked about so many things. It was one of those episodes that it always happens when we chat with our friends and have them on where we're recording and then we literally forget that we're recording a podcast because the conversation just flows. And I literally felt like I could have talked to her for hours. So buckle up. I know that you're going to enjoy this episode and that you're going to end up loving Jen the same way we do by the time it's done. Are you tired of spending your entire weekend cleaning when you could be going out to brunch with your girls?
First of all, I love brunch. And second of all, yes, there are so many things I could be doing instead of cleaning my house on the weekend.
Oh yeah, like playing video games.
Or watching a movie with the kids.
Going on a date with your significant other.
Taking your dog to the dog park.
Going to the movies.
Solving world hunger.
Yes! Exactly. So this is why it is such a good idea to call up Chores and More for your deep and recurring cleaning needs.
And do you want to know something really, really cool?
What?
If anybody mentions Hustled Up when they call to book, they can receive up to $100 off their deep cleaning.
Up to $100 off. What are you doing still sitting there? Pick up the phone now, mention our podcast, and never have to spend your weekends cleaning again.
Simply go to choresandmorellc.com. You can fill out our request quote form there, or give us a call, send us a text, 631-397-0177. It is time to get back to doing the things you love. Let us take care of the cleaning.
All right, we are back with Jen Rodgers, and I am so freaking amped for this conversation because we have really gotten to know Jen recently, and we are absolutely obsessed with her. And by the end of this episode, I'm sure that you will be too. But I'm gonna let you guys see that for yourself. So Jen, if you can just kind of introduce yourself to our listeners, what you do, and just tell us a little bit about you, that'd be great.
Sure. So my name is Jen Rodgers, and I'm native to Florida. I'm a native Floridian. Born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida. My mom was born here. My grandmother was born here. So on my mom's side, like full on native Floridian. My dad is a transplant from New York, but we won't hold that against him. So
Transplant.
No,
Love
he
that.
moved down here when he was 17, so he's practically a Floridian, like he's been here forever. But I own Just Peachy Clean in Daytona Beach, Florida, and this year will be 11 years officially in business. Started cleaning a little bit before that, so all told, I think I'm into the cleaning industry about 14, maybe 15 years now, and just have a real big passion for small businesses. I started Profit Pathways, which is a little bit of a coaching thing that I do on the side, and some other stuff with my kids to try to get them to see what that entrepreneur life is like. But yeah, I'm just really passionate about up-leveling the cleaning industry as a whole and small businesses as a whole.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I love that. What did you do? Have you always had that entrepreneurial spirit in you, or did you do something else before you entered the cleaning industry?
No, I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. I was not an entrepreneur. Like the closest I could get is I did Party Light, so I was a boss babe back in the day. But I did that. Other than that, I worked like careers. Like the job that I had before here that was like my career was I was the director of membership and special events for a local nonprofit in the construction industry. So I did, all of their special events. I did membership recruitment and all of that. And I was there 10 years, I think. And it ended very badly. The housing bubble burst. I lost my job. And I kind of got pushed into cleaning because my neighbor was a cleaner and she had some vacation rentals that she needed help with. So I started helping her with that. And I was working like 4 jobs at that time, I think. I was waiting tables. I was cleaning houses. I was doing sales for a local company. And I did bookkeeping for a local company because we had a baby and I had to hustle. So that's what you do.
Wow. And so out of all of those things, cleaning is what stuck.
Well, yeah, because what happened is the woman who did the Airbnbs, she did residential stuff. And then she decided she only wanted to focus on the Airbnbs because she wanted to get her real estate license and she wanted to be like property manager and clean them. So she had like 2 or 3 clients that she just didn't want to cancel completely. And she's like, hey, do you want them? And I said, sure, why not? And so I took those, and then you know how it goes. Like they referred a couple people and they referred a couple people. So it started getting to the point where I was like, I don't have, if I'm going to keep doing this, I don't have time for these other jobs. So my husband and I sat down and talked and I said, I'm either going to like make it a go with this cleaning thing and see where it goes, or I need to pull back because I don't have time for everything else. So we pulled the plug on all of the guaranteed paychecks and hopped right into cleaning, and I haven't looked back.
Wow, I feel like that's how it always goes. Every time I ask a cleaning business owner, how did you get into cleaning? I feel like the story is always it kind of happened to you. Every cleaning business owner, it's like circumstances happen and you just end up cleaning, and people don't realize how amazing it is and that it can be really, really enjoyable. And then it's so funny because we start a cleaning business because we're good at cleaning. And then you realize that if you want a big cleaning business, you're not going to be cleaning at all. You're going to be actually doing very, very hard things, which is so funny.
Yeah. I always call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I didn't start this business to start a business. I started this business because we needed food and electricity and gas, like basics, you know.
I feel like that is how it goes for a lot of people in this industry. I don't think that's the case for all industries, but I think in this one, people kind of do it where they're like, oh, I need to make money. I need to do it now. What is the easiest thing I can do that doesn't really cost me anything? You know, we all think it's cheap in the beginning, and then you grow and you're like, oh, this isn't cheap anymore.
Slaps you in the face.
Yeah.
No overhead.
No math involved. Jen knows, because Jen is in our cohort in Cleaning Business Fundamentals. So she knows me. Like, I am constantly complaining about diving into numbers because I'm like,
I'm determined to make you like them. I'm determined to make you like them.
Oh God, they're like my kryptonite. I just cannot, and like they just don't tell you when you start a business. It's like all numbers,
everything. Doesn't matter if it's accounting or if it's acquisition or if it's recurring clients. There is numbers involved in everything.
Everything. You're not lying. So you do a lot now. Your business, how many employees do you have right now in your business?
So we have 16 full-time cleaning technicians, and we've got 2 full-time office staff. We've got another office staff person starting on Monday, and I think we have another cleaning tech starting on Monday.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. And it's even more a lot because we are at the size we are. We should have a third person in the office, and we've not had a solid third person in a while. So the 2 office staff that I have right now are severely overwhelmed and doing their absolute best, but it's hard.
Yeah, I feel that. Even we're probably half your size-ish, and we are in terms of like revenue. And with the 2 of us, we're struggling, and with a little bit of part-time help on the side, we're just not doing well. So
nobody understands like what goes into running a business. Every person that we've hired, they're like, oh yeah, they seem like they're going to be great. And then they get in here and like a week later, they're like, I didn't know all this went into running a cleaning business. Like I thought I was just going to like be an order taker or whatever. But between CRMs and all the things you have to do, following up with clients, talking to technicians, there's so much that gets eaten up in your day that people just don't even realize.
Yeah, we deal with that a lot, actually. Especially with like our friends. Our friends, like, I feel, think that we're just like sitting around. Like, they see our podcast. They're like, oh, they're having fun. Like, everything is fun. They're just chilling. Meanwhile, I'm like yay close to a breakdown, like at least once a day. So it's like,
I know, I get so triggered. Holly took the words out of my mouth because I was just thinking, like, we have friends and they don't mean any harm by this, but they'll be like, oh, it's work from home Friday. Want to go grab lunch? Want to go get breakfast? And I'm like, work from home Friday doesn't mean sit on my ass and twiddle my thumbs Friday. Like, I still have work to do.
I am working from home.
Yeah, it triggers me so hard. I'm like, because people don't know, and you don't know what you don't know because I didn't know. Like, when Holly and I were still in the field and we would occasionally take days off, we weren't doing office work. I don't know how our business got to the size it did when we weren't doing office work because I know we didn't know that we had to be working on the business all the time. We just didn't know.
Yep.
And even to this day, even to this day, people will ask me like, "Oh, what do you do? Like, what do you do now that you're not in the field anymore?" And I like don't even know anymore. Like, I'm like, everything. I do everything. I can't answer
so
that.
Seriously, funny story. We went out to dinner with it's like we went out. It was with family, but it was my sister-in-law's brother and his wife. So like, I don't know what that makes them. And I've known her for a really long time, and she looked at me and she was like, "So you don't clean at all anymore?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "So what do you do?" And my mind went blank, and I'm like, payroll, like phone stuff. I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? You're in the office every day. Why did you just completely shut down when somebody asked you what you do now? Like, first off, like, I need to validate it with anybody, period. But that I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, you like black out.
Why do we freeze up every time someone says, "So what do you do as the owner?" I'm like, I don't know. I do everything. I don't know.
Everything.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I do it
half
all
the time.
Or like that meme, my best. I just do my best, okay?
Yes, exactly. I love it. So you've grown your business a lot, especially since joining Cleaning Business Fundamentals, which all of our listeners they all know about. Yeah. But for you, there's so much I want to talk about today, but like I don't know where to start because I want to talk about how you're like the queen of being organized. Like that's number one. Like with your spreadsheets and stuff, and like everything is on paper for you. It seems like you're always like just you're so organized. I don't know. I aspire to be that level of organized.
Thank you, because I look at it still and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? We are far better than we were.
I was going to say, you're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah.
And so you have all of these like systems because you're so organized. And so those systems are going to take you places. Like this is not the end for Just Peachy Clean or for like Jen Rodgers, right? Like,
oh no, right.
Here's a question for you. Where do you see yourself? This is very high school yearbook, but like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, can you just walk us through like the Jen Rodgers life in 5 years from today?
Yeah. Wow. In 5 years today, I want to be a $5 million business with Just Peachy Clean. First and foremost, this is my baby. This is always going to be like it for me, right? Because this is the breadwinner. I want to retire my husband so that he can do the things that he wants to do. He's been at his company, God, for this year will be 25 years. He's a very loyal man. Yeah, unheard of. He's a military man, if that says anything. Like they're very like loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
I want to get my coaching business more off the ground. Like I've gotten it started and I've had like a really soft start, which is what I wanted to do because my approach is I don't want you to buy something just for a shiny thing. I want you to buy it because you need it and you're going to grow from it. I don't want you to have just another thing on your shelf to go, oh yeah, I have that. Oh yeah, I have that. Like if I don't think you're going to utilize it, I don't want to take you on as a client because I want you to be a forever client. I don't want you, or, at least a several year client while you get to where you need to go. I don't want you to go, oh my gosh, that was such a waste of money. I shouldn't have purchased that. Like, I don't want anybody to ever have that taste in their mouth about me. So I've started slow so that I can see what I want to do and what I don't want to do in that business. But 5 years from now, I want to have a better, a more thriving coaching business with the stuff that I'm offering there. And I want to teach my kids that they don't have to work for somebody else. Like, there are options out there. If they want to come up in this business, they can. But my oldest wants to be an auto mechanic. And so the high school that he goes to, they actually have an auto mechanic program. And when he graduates high school, he will be able to take the certification. And if he passes, he will be ASE certified. So he can literally go straight into the field from there and doesn't need to take any other courses or anything like that. He can go get more specialized certifications. But so to kind of set that up and get him some experience, my husband and him have started a business called Guaranteed Motorworks, where they want to start flipping cars. So now we have a big shed at home. We've got to get the other one cleared out to get it ready for the cars, but to show him that, hey, you know what, when he turns 18 and graduates, if he's doing a good job at flipping cars, maybe that's what he just continues to do. Or he finds out, I don't really like doing auto mechanic stuff, and he can go find something else. You know, he's super creative. And same for my youngest. He's a lot like my husband, but he's a lot like me in the way my brain works, and I just don't see him ever satisfied working for somebody else. I think he's going to have to do something big for himself. So those are my big goals.
Wow. I love that your family is so heavily included in your goals. Like, it's not just
Yes.
what do I want for myself, it's what do I want for my husband, what do I want for my kids, and I love that. I think that that's so selfless. And a lot of people, I think, when they're goal setting, they can be a bit selfish. So I love that. And we touched a little bit on the coaching business, and I would love to just kind of talk about that a little more, like about your goals with the coaching business, but also what you do with your coaching business.
That's so funny because
Yeah.
that was literally next on my that was next on my
Great
question
minds
list.
think
You
alike.
stole my question. How dare you?
Get out of my head.
No, I love that. I love that. Yeah, so Profit Pathways is something that I started, and I partner. You guys know Josh Latimer. I partner with Josh Latimer with the program that he created called Warplan AI, which is a whole AI driven system where it tracks your goals, it reverse engineers your goals, it tracks your marketing so that you can really dial in what is working and what's not working on your marketing. Because, you know, everywhere we hear, oh, you need to spend 5% on your marketing just to stay steady. Oh, if you want aggressive growth, or if you want to grow faster, you need to be between 6 and 7%. Aggressive growth, 8 to 10%. But if you're spending 10% and it's not doing anything, then what does it matter? So if you're not tracking what avenues are bringing in the most clients, then there's no purpose in even doing it. You're not going to go anywhere. So the AI program, the Warplan AI program does that. So it'll track your marketing. You can go in and keep track of it. But on top of that, it has you put in all of your information, like what your client acquisition cost is, what your teams run and everything. And then it works backwards. So if you tell it, I want to be $1 million company by the end of next year. Okay, great. To get to that, you've told us that you close 30% of your sales. So to get to that number, you need this many clients, which means you need this many leads. So you need to start looking at your marketing and say, how am I going to generate that many leads? And then it goes farther and says, to have the client capacity that you need this many people working for you. So in March, you're going to have to hire 2. In June, you're going to have to hire 3. If you're a home service business, like a lawn care or something that's a little bit more seasonal, it will tell you when to start hiring to ramp up for that busy season and when you should be advertising to cover you during that slow season. You know, you don't need to advertise over the summer for summer clients. You need to start advertising over the summer for those winter clients when things die down. We are fortunate where we're not really seasonal, unless you live in a space where like you get snowed in half the year or it's really touristy driven. We're not super seasonal, so we can kind of still keep track throughout the year. But on top of that, it does like your SEO audit, like it'll look at your website and tell you what's working and what's not working. It will do social media posts for you, blog posts. It'll help you write email campaigns, and they're constantly adding to it. And the nice thing about it is that once you join, every addition that they make and every update is all included. On top of that, you get like a Go High Level package, and we meet weekly for the first 10 weeks going over grassroots marketing training. So it's not like, oh, how can I spend more money in Google and how is it going to fix that? It's how to make things work for relatively inexpensive or free. Like we go through 10 weeks of different, we call them money missions, on how to just do grassroots type marketing and make you work for your business instead of just your dollar working for your business. And then after that, it goes into monthly like accountability calls. And my goal with that is, for example, next week with the clients that I have, or actually not next week, tomorrow, I'm bringing in a digital media specialist who is going to talk to them. They're going to be able to pull up their Google ads and they're going to look at them and say, hey, these are some red flags that I'm noticing. They're not there to pitch their company. They're there to truly help my clients to say, yes, they're doing a great job on your Google ads. Good job. Keep it up. Or these are some red flags. Like these are some things that you should talk to them about. Or, that budget seems way high for you not to be getting this. So I want to try to bring in industry experts to help them out along their journey too, because there's so much of what we do that you just don't know until you're in it.
I love that. I feel like I want to set up a call with that person. Have that analyze our ads, because marketing is a whole beast. Marketing is something like, I mean, obviously you can get a degree in it. Like there is a lot to unpack with marketing, and I feel like a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this in the past. I try not to be this way. I think that you have to. I'm really into branding and all that stuff, but a lot of people will just be like, oh, I'm going to hire a marketing person. I'm going to throw $2,000 into my Google Ads budget, let the leads roll in, and that's it. That's all they do. There's nothing else with that. And while it will get you some leads, it's not going to take you very far.
No, and you end up wasting your money. Like I want somebody, the algorithms change so much between Facebook and Google and all that. I want somebody who's in it every day, who knows what they're doing, to be able to go, nope, we need to change these keywords, or nope, we need to do this. Because the other cool thing is that, like with the digital marketing company that I have, they utilized my Go High Level that I get with Warplan, and they're tracking where all of the leads are coming from inside my Go High Level. So when I click on a new lead, I can see which Google ad campaign it came from. Not just that it's Google ads, which campaign it came from, which Facebook campaign it came from. So then we can see which ads are actually have traction and which ones don't have traction.
That's a game changer. That is crazy, because not only do you know where they're coming from, you know exactly what content is attracting people. So you can say, okay, this type of, say you posted a video and it did so well. Okay, we could post more videos similar to this because this is what the people want and this is what they like. Yep. It's so nuanced, and people don't realize exactly how nuanced the marketing is. And it's expensive too. Marketing is not cheap. So you want to make sure your marketing dollars are being spent properly, because it's not cheap.
Well, we just sat down. I just got back from live, and while they were in the middle of doing something, they were talking about your customer acquisition costs. And I was sitting down. I was like, you know what? I haven't done it in about a month. Let me just do it. And I worked it out. And our customer acquisition cost, I think, is like $448 right now, which is not terrible, but I would like it to be lower, obviously. But if you're not watching that stuff, it's so easy to get up in that $600-700 market or $700 range without even realizing it, because you're like, oh, I'll sponsor this, or oh, let me do an ad in that magazine, or let me do something over here. And then at the end of the month, you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, that brought us in no traction, because whatever it was we didn't do anything. So the leads we did get in, those leads cost me $700 and something. And then are those recurring clients, or is that just a one-time client? It's a lot to think about and a lot to keep track of.
Yeah. It's good that Warplan kind of helps you keep it, like, it's not all in your head, I guess. Like, you have it right there and it guides you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I like that.
Yep.
So that's mainly what Profit Pathways is for. It's for like coaching them with Warplan AI and doing that.
Yeah. So if they want to do one-on-one coaching, we can do that too without the Warplan stuff, and we can just set up dates, times, and they can do like a package if they want to or whatever. And it's really for smaller home service type businesses. Like that's kind of, well, it's my background, obviously. I feel like I've gotten a degree over the last 3 years of, cleaning business, but home service industry businesses are all very similar. You're looking for that monthly recurring revenue. You're looking for that client that's going to be a forever client. You're looking for good employees. So even just having a coaching call where somebody is holding you accountable for the things that you're doing, where you get on and you go, okay, what did you work on last week? We talked about this. Did you complete that? Did you not complete it? Where did you get hung up on it, or whatever, is also beneficial.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we get the pleasure of that through our cohort calls, but I think it's great if people aren't aren't paying for it. They should be paying for accountability, like someone holding them accountable.
Right.
I mean, obviously.
And again, like I said, I don't care if you go with me or whatever. My biggest piece of advice to anybody in business is find a coach that you connect with, whether it's in your industry or whether it's a small business coach or whatever. You don't, again, we harp on this a lot. You don't know the things you don't know, right? So how are you going to find them out unless you start diving into books or you start diving into a big guru or you hire a small business coach or whatever the case may be? There's a lot to learn, and it just makes things easier. Like, the knowing is way easier than the unknowing. And I know that that's not a word, but you know what I mean? Like, sitting in that unknown has its own heaviness and that own mental load where you're going, I mean, I think we're okay. I think, there's money in the bank. I think we're good. As opposed to I can look at my P&L and go, no, I know we're good. Or, oh, you know what? Last month sucked. We spent way too much. What did we do? Whatever.
There's definitely a freedom
numbers,
to knowing.
your favorite thing.
I know. I was going to say I'm like cringing inside because I feel personally victimized because I am that person that's like, I don't want to know. Everything's fine as long as we have money in the bank account. What could go wrong? But it's like,
right?
It's so much better. So we talk about this a lot on this podcast. It's so much better to be proactive than reactive. And I don't know about you, Jen, but Holly and I spent a lot of our time in business being very reactive to things. So now we are slowly getting better with the proactiveness, but Lord, I tell you, it's still hard when it comes to certain things like number and finances and things like that. It's still tough to dive into and just go head first.
Yeah. Somebody asked the other day in the CBF page, how fast did you go from 200,000 to $1 million?
And I saw that.
I answered in 3 years. But that was chaos. Like, you can do it in 3 years. You could probably do it in 2 years. But it is straight chaos to grow that fast. Like, everything we were doing, we were in reaction mode. We were not in proactive mode at all. We learned a lot in that year. That first year in CBF, I grew 131%. That's like...
What?
Unheard of. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I remember the first retreat that I went to, Debbie does her I am statements. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like... I just told this story somewhere the other day too. And I'm sitting there and I've got like my hand over my paper, like I don't want anybody to copy from me. And I wrote down my little tiny I am statement and I laughed at it because I'm like, it's ridiculous. I'm never going to get there. And I had written down that I am a $500,000 company. And by that time next year, I was a $500,000 company.
Wow.
Well, you manifested that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that? Do you believe in manifestation and affirmations and things like that? Are you one of those people?
I don't know that I've ever really called it manifestation, but I do believe that you attract what you focus on. And so I think if I'm focusing on all of the negative, I'm going to notice all of the negative. I'm going to feel all of the negative. Everything is going to look bad. But if I'm focusing on the growth and I'm focusing on where the next step is, then that's what's going to happen. If I've got a goal out in front of me and we're going to it and you tell me I can't do it, because I remember one of my first meetings, I love Debbie to death. You guys know it. She told me I couldn't be $1 million company in 3 years, and I did it. So, like, watch me. Watch
right?
me.
It's like, doubt me, I dare you. Bet. I can't do it? Okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I love that. You clearly also have, which I mean, we've seen firsthand because, like Holly said, you're in our cohort. So I feel like you always have this burning desire to help small business owners and entrepreneurs. And I feel like you starting your own coaching business with Profit Pathways is just so perfect because something else you said off camera too before we started recording was that you really like helping small business owners to ensure that they're not getting ripped off, that whatever they're purchasing, they're using, and they're utilizing and whatnot, not getting taken advantage of. And would you say that you're passionate about that because you've experienced a lot of that, or you're just seeing your friends experience it? Yeah.
D, all of the above. I've been burned by bookkeepers, 2 bookkeepers. I really feel like I was burned by my last SEO Google company, more recently with a VA company that I've had. And I think that the problem is that companies like that are able to get away with the things that they do because nobody is inspecting it. And these small businesses, they are predators to these small businesses. And I hate to use that because that's a strong word and people may not agree with me because they know they're not going to check it. Especially when it comes to things that are hard to quantify. Like digital media sounds like hocus pocus that happens in the background. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like. It could be working. It could be not be working. So if you've got a company that you're working with and you're like, hey, I think our phone slowed down a little bit. Like they're not ringing. Oh no, look, I'm looking. Everything is great. Everything is great. But it's just the market. It's just the economy. Well, then I switch digital media companies and our average leads per month are about 140, maybe 150. We already have 152 today as of this, or actually as of yesterday, the 16th, from switching to a new company. Now, I'm not saying that all of those leads are great leads and that we've closed all of them because we're trying new things with Facebook ads and stuff like that. But it's gotten our phone ringing and it's gotten, our people talking to people and things like that. And I just, compared to what I came from, where I just kept getting told, no, it's great, it's great, it's great, to the point where literally, like, I'm pointing out some things, and then the next day, doubling down that they were doing it right, that everything was great, and then the next day I go in and look, and they had flipped things to what I asked them to do that they were saying was the wrong way. And I feel like that's sleazy. Like, I feel like that's shady business practice.
Yeah, for sure. Because most of us are too afraid to even ask, right? Like most of us, we had a great
feel
coaching
dumb.
call with Beth. Yeah, exactly. I can't ask about my numbers because I don't even understand them. So how am I going to inspect what I don't understand? And Holly, I don't know if you remember, we had a coaching call with Coach Beth, who's also a cleaning business fundamentals coach. She's been on the podcast, and she was like, "You need to put on your big girl." Oh, she's a queen. You got to put on your big girl pants and ask the hard questions. And we started doing that, and it's really, really paid off.
Right. But nobody holds these people accountable outside. And they just, bookkeepers especially, because like you said, numbers are confusing. It's so hard. I don't know what to look at. And I think Coach Molly was the first one to like really sit down with me with my numbers, because I was like, I booked a coaching call. I think it was one of my first momentum ones. And I said, I'd really like to talk numbers. I don't know what I'm looking at, and she was like, okay, well, let's pull up your QuickBooks if you don't mind sharing your screen with me. I said, no, absolutely. So pulled it up, and like line by line, she kind of took me through and looked at everything. And I was like, still overwhelmed, and it still didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it made more sense. And I was like, okay, that's not as intimidating. Now I can start asking more questions. And then I would start diving into it more of my own. And I'm a part of the, SBDC here in my area, which is the Small Business Development Center or Council. I can't remember what the last C is for. If you're not a part of it, you have to reach out to it. Hopefully you have a good one in your area. Usually they're connected to like a college or something, but it's free business resources. They will help you write business plans. They will help you find grants that you can apply for your company, depending on what your business is. They will also do website audits completely for free. They will sit down and bring in a financial expert to go through your QuickBooks with you, so that they go through line by line and show you everything that's good. But tons of great free resources, actually prepaid, because it's paid by your tax dollars, so you've already paid for it. But I went and sat down with the financial person there, and he went through my QuickBooks with me line by line too. So just taking small steps to learn something a little bit better. I'm not an expert by any means, but I at least know now when I go in there and look, I know what I'm looking at. And I know when my percentages are off or when something looks really high, and I can start asking questions.
Yeah, I think as you know, and our audience doesn't know this yet, but 2 months ago, I think it was at the end of February, like beginning of March, we had gotten our February books in from our bookkeeper, and I called my friend who's like a low-key math wizard. I don't know like what is in her blood, but she's a math teacher, and like she was like the girl. I took AP calculus in high school, and I was just sitting there like, what? And she was like in her books, like it was like crazy, and
taking it all in.
So I called, literally, like, and so I called her. I was like, I need you to come read my books. Like, I am so desperate. I don't know what I'm doing. Please come help me. And she was like, I mean, I don't really know about like financial bookkeeping, but I know math and I know percentages and I know numbers. She was like, so, okay, I'll come. So she literally came, sat on the couch right next to me while I was working, and she was going through it line by line with me. And she pointed out even a few errors that the bookkeeper made that I ended up having to go and talk to the bookkeeper about. And now, ever since then, and Laura knows this, because I used to not do this, but now I am so anal about checking all the bank accounts every day. So like it's a big step. Like, and I probably should do this with my own bank account. I don't yet. I will get there. Ignorance is
Baby
bliss
steps.
for me with my personal bank account. Exactly. But with the business bank account, I'm going in there every single day and analyzing expenses like from the day before. So, because like looking at it all at the end, it's a little overwhelming for me. But if I do it every day, I am like, oh, okay, I'm understanding it. And Laura knows like I've caught things now, like, you know, like charges that weren't supposed to be there or things like that. So, those little steps, and even if it means calling a friend, you know, if that's what it has to be for now, if there are no free resources or if you don't have money for that, like that's okay. But I think it's important to utilize the resources that you do have, because sometimes, you know, it is just a friend who knows their stuff and can help you. And she really helped me take a few like very small steps. And now, while I still feel like I want to throw up whenever my bookkeeper sends me like the report on the 15th of the following month, and I gag a little, I'm still like, I'm not, it's not a total surprise, because I am, you know, I'm now brave enough to look at the bank accounts every day and analyze that at least. So I think it's like, you know, small steps are huge. You know, you just have to see them that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you said something that was very important. You're looking at it every day, even if you only look at it once a week. Like my bookkeeper, one of the things I love about her is she does it weekly. So at the end of every single week, I get a spreadsheet. Hey, these are the transactions I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. I'll go in and I'll write down, you know, what they are and send them back. And every week she reconciles my books. The only thing she doesn't reconcile is the payroll. She does that at the end of the month. But all of the other expenses, because like she said, she goes, I don't want to ask you on the 31st for something you spent on the 1st. What if you don't remember what it was and you didn't save the receipt and then we're guessing and all of that. So she's on top of it every week. So I would say that kudos to you for looking at it every single day. But if you're not going to do it every day, at least do it once a week.
Yeah. Don't ignore it. Everybody thinks ignorance is bliss with any of the hard stuff in your business, you know, like I think, you know, back to when Laura and I first started sending other people to initial cleanings, or even for ourselves too, we would never follow up the next day. Like we would just bury our heads in the sand. No news is good news. You know, ignorance is bliss. Like that was like my motto back in the day. Yeah. But now, you know, I don't hide from that stuff. And I think it's so important to like remember that ignorance is not bliss. And that you should be calling your clients, following up. Like you should be doing things that you might be like nervous to know the answer to. You know what I mean? But it's all part of owning a business and being better in your business and making your business better and stronger and making yourself stronger. Like I definitely feel less barfy when I get my bookkeeping reports.
Less
like
barfy. I like that.
Like I'm still a little nauseous, but not as nauseous.
That's amazing. I love that. Hey, listen, like we said, baby steps. That's fantastic. But also, like we've talked about before, you can't make sound financial decisions if you don't know your financials, you know? So can you hire an office person? I don't know. What does my P&L look like? What am I spending in admin? You know, until you sit down and look at that, like then you make a guess and you go, yeah, I'm going to hire this person. And 2 weeks from now, when you do the first payroll, you're like, oh my gosh, where's our money? I don't have any money left because I couldn't actually afford to hire that person for what I hired them for. So while ignorance does seem like bliss, it's so much easier when you know the answers.
Yeah, it is. It really
absolutely is.
Not trying to make you feel bad, I promise.
No. It's Jen always hits us with like the hard facts where I'm like, yes, tell me what I need. Like, I love it. Like, please tell me everything I'm doing wrong and help me fix it. It's because you just have that helping, giving vibe. I'm telling you, you just attract.
I want everybody to succeed.
Yeah, it's very apparent. It's very apparent.
And what I love about you, Jen, too, like what I really love is that you won't sugarcoat anything. Like you,
thanks.
You're like this. It's a good thing. Like you'll be like, do you need this? What is this? Why are you doing this? Like you're very like, I've spoken to people where they're like, oh, like, okay, maybe blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no. Like you need to do this, or you should do this, or tell me why you're doing this. Like you're just very factual.
You want to know why?
Yes, I do.
Because I have already spent a lot of money making those mistakes. So oh, this shiny, you go to live, which I love, but then they have the vendors there and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this thing. It's a tipping software. I should get that. Look at this thing. I should get that. And then you leave and you're like, where are all of these reoccurring monthly charges coming from? What is this? And you're not using any of them.
Oh, yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah,
I
we
like
do
it,
that
though.
a lot too.
Yeah. I need a straight shooter in my life. Like, I like that, like, direct communication. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't need it. Like, I need that, And speaking of helping too, like, because we haven't touched on this and we would be doing a disservice if we haven't touched on this, you clearly have a passion for helping entrepreneurs, and you recently started a podcast with your bestie also, right? So it's called Our Business Shenanigans. And if you could tell us a little bit about it and maybe why you decided to start a podcast and what your goal is with the podcast.
Yeah, we started it because we're brilliantly funny, and we thought the whole world should have that. So
you wanted to grace people.
You should. How dare you even think about depriving them of that?
Right,
Obviously,
right. It's just my passion. No, so it's Nicole Kolb and I. She's in Virginia. She owns Paragon Cleaning, and she's my best friend. And we, believe it or not, we met through CBF. Like, we wouldn't even be friends had it not been for CBF. And then I was in her wedding last year, and, we vacationed together and do trips and stuff like that. And, we got our green jackets together. Like, it's a lot of fun. And our businesses are almost identical, like identical size, almost identical employee count, everything. Every month we're just like a few thousand off from each other. But we had joked around for I don't know, probably a year or so. And like, we bought microphones and we bought like this and that. We're like, yeah, we're going to do it. And then we just didn't do it. And it's funny because I think Jeannie invited me to be on her podcast, and I told Nicole that, and she goes, nobody's invited me to be on their podcast. I said, we have been trying to start a podcast for a year. She's like, we're doing it. And literally like the next week we started the podcast. So it's called Our Business Shenanigans, and it's Our BS for short, because it's just a whole lot of BS. But we want to, we want to, again, teach people about business, but make it fun, because people don't listen to boring speakers. So we share our experiences and we share things that we've learned along the way. Like today, I recorded our podcast this morning with her, and this week's episode is about pivoting when staffing goes wrong. So she shared her story of a whole staff mutiny that she had when she lost like half of her staff because of one employee that kind of got her tail feathers ruffled. And then I shared the story of my stalker ex-employee, which was a nightmare. So and then we talked about, red flags that we should have noticed when interviewing, and then red flags we should have noticed in the beginning, and all of that could have avoided those. So yeah, we just like to talk about business and help people dive in more. A lot of sarcasm, a lot of wit. We talk about, our stories of, I don't think we've talked about yet when we were almost kidnapped by Scientologists, but we've teased about it a little bit.
What? I feel like that's a very Jen thing. Like, yeah, I just like casually got kidnapped. It's fine.
Right. It is. No, listen, it's in Clearwater when we go to the pros events, because it's in the heart of Scientology Center. And the short story is we were legit followed. Like, we went to a Publix that was right next to all the Scientology places, and we were probably joking around and saying some things we shouldn't have been saying about Scientologists as we walked into the Publix. But when we left, I don't pay attention to anything like that, because I have my husband who pays attention to everything, because he's a military man. That's what he does. He's my protector. So we're driving back, and she's like, that car has been following us for a while. I'm like, you're crazy. It's nothing. She's like, no, it's like the same car. It's a white car back there. And I was like, whatever. So when you go over the bridge in Clearwater where we were staying, there's a roundabout, right? And so our exit was like the third one. She goes, I'm going to drive by our exit and go I'll almost do another loop, because I want to see if they're following us. They went all the way around with us. And so we went back over the bridge. She's like, Jen, we almost got kidnapped. I'm like, drive around so that we lose them and they don't follow us back to our hotel. This is ridiculous. So you guys got the inside scoop first. I haven't even told it on our podcast yet.
Ooh, an exclusive. Hustled Up exclusive, y'all. Heard it here first.
I would have had a panic attack, like 100%.
Oh, yeah, no.
I didn't even notice it.
No.
Like, if she hadn't noticed it and they followed us back to the hotel, oh my gosh.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my goodness.
That's like Holly and me. I
crazy.
feel like I'm always on the lookout and the observer because I'm super paranoid. And Holly and I one time thought we were getting kidnapped in a lift because we were going to the airport from one of the CBF events, and he kept on missing the exit. And it was really sketchy. And then at one point he like pulled over and he was like, I have to check something on my phone. And he pulled over. I literally screenshot it, sent it to Holly's boyfriend, and was like, this is the info. We might die. Please, tell some funny jokes at my funeral. It's fine. And then we got there safely, thank God. But I literally texted Holly and I was like, we're getting kidnapped, just FYI. And she's like,
And I
what?
was
that's
like,
creepy.
I'm a deer in headlights kind of person. I'm really bad. Like, I'm not. Like, you know how people are fight or flight? I'm none of those things. I am stand there and get killed. Like,
You're
Oh, yeah,
fight, flight, or
apocalypse.
freeze. You just freeze.
You're dying.
I am the freezer. Like, I'm just like Laura's doing all these things, and I was just like, okay.
I'm just overly paranoid.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great. That's why I have such support systems, and I lean really strongly on them because, like, I would be dead for sure. Like, by now, I forget it. This is why I don't have kids either, because like I barely keep myself alive. There's just no
Listen.
way. Like,
Some days it's hard. I may or may not have forgotten to pick up my son yesterday from school, so it's fine.
Oh,
No. It
Thankfully, my
happens.
sister works for the school, so I can do a quick phone call to her and she can grab him. But it was like, I'm supposed to be there at 3, and I was doing stuff here at the office, and we were getting ready for a staff meeting, and I happened to look down at my watch, and it was 3:15, and I had a missed text message from him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on my way.
Oh
Go to
what?
Nene's room.
honestly, love that you shared that though, because I feel like moms like do these little things, and then they feel so terrible because they think that moms are supposed to be perfect, and they're like, I don't think anybody is a perfect mom, honestly. So
Mom guilt is a real thing. Like
yeah.
I last week when we were at CBF Live and we got green jackets, it was super emotional because it has been a long road and it has been a lot of hard work. You guys know how hard it is to do this business, right? Or any business really. But to get to where we were, and that isn't just my sacrifice. That's my family's sacrifice, because there are nights that I'm not present because I'm working on my computer, or there are nights that I'm in Clearwater, or I'm in Vegas, or I'm in San Diego, or whatever, constantly learning. And it takes time away from them. So it's not just my sacrifice, it's their sacrifice. So it was very I think I made a Facebook post about this too, that I hope that they see the value in the sacrifice as they get older, because I miss them every step of the way. But I know that I'm doing this to build a better life for them. When Jeannie interviewed me, I think she asked me what one of my biggest regrets was. And honestly, when my second son was born, I cleaned up until 35 weeks. And then I had him at 36 weeks. And I was back to work 3 weeks later. And
Wow.
I hate that I missed that newborn time with him. And he was jaundiced, so he was on the light, so he needed extra care. And we were going to the doctors every single day. So I feel like his newborn stage was robbed from me. Part of that being my fault. But back then, it was just me and a helper. If I wasn't working, I wasn't making money, And so I'm looking at this going, we have a brand new baby we've got to take care of. And so there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with owning a business that people don't see. And they just look at you and they go, oh, she's so lucky. Look at them going on so many vacations in a year. Or look at them, not that we drive fancy cars, because my husband's is a 2005 Dodge Ram, but look at their fancy cars and whatever, that they're just so lucky. No, it has been literal blood, sweat, and tears to get to where we are.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that, business ownership in general is just such a massive investment, and not of just money. It's an investment of your time. It's an investment of your sanity. It's such an investment. And it's an investment of your whole being sometimes, and if you do it right, it pays you back tenfold.
Right.
But some people don't understand it in those tough moments. But if I know anything about your sons, I mean, I don't know them, but from your posts, you've got some good ass kids. So
They are amazing. They really are.
They know how much of a tough cookie you are, for sure. We all know that they're some good kids.
Yeah. Oh, well, yesterday when I forgot Hudson, the youngest one, he's 9. I text him. I'm like, oh my gosh, Bubba, I'm so sorry. I'm on my way. I'm so sorry. He does a voice memo back. It's okay, Mama. It's fine. Like,
Oh,
I love him. You always post about him and his little things that he says and stuff, and I'm like, this kid is like, he makes me want to have them. Like, he's
I
so
know.
cute.
Yeah.
He's
And
like
it's rare
wise.
for that. That's rare. That's rare. Most,
Yeah,
most,
very rare.
Most children make me like, I don't know. But whenever I see Hudson or Hayden post, I'm like, okay, wait, maybe this might be the life for me one day because they're just so cute.
they're pretty
They
amazing kids. They have both always been old souls. Hudson is there. It's so funny how they can both be so different. Hayden is very book smart. School has always come very easy to him. Like he's artsy. He does his drawings. He does his doodles. He does all of that stuff. He likes music. And Hudson is like not book smart. He doesn't want anything to do with school. Like, but he's brilliant. We had him evaluated for a lot of stuff last year because we were worried about a learning disability and everything. His IQ is like 110 for 9 years old. His vocabulary is through the roof. He can sit and hold a conversation with an adult like nobody's business. Like his vision therapist this week was out, so we had to see a different one. And the guy was like, I really enjoyed talking to your son. Like he just had a conversation with me like, an old friend or something. I'm like, that's just who he is. He's just such a cool kid.
I love that. I feel like people a lot, like children and even adults, like everybody's brain is different. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like some people are just book smart, and then others they're like super intelligent, but in a different way, or they just, don't like getting into books and learning in that way. So it's just different for everybody, honestly. But based on that, he definitely would be a great entrepreneur.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
That's why I keep telling him, I'm like, Bub, you're going to have to work for yourself. We got to figure out what you like.
I was going to just ask that. Like, does he like anything yet, or is he still kind of exploring different things?
He's still kind of exploring different things. It was funny when he was little. One of the times I asked him what he wanted to do when he grew up, and he said, oh, I want to take over your business, Mommy. I can sit around and do nothing all day.
Oh, I'd be like, sick burn. Oh my God.
My husband goes, my husband looked at him and he said, son, you better rephrase your words. Because Mommy does not just sit around and do nothing all day. But, he was like, I don't know, 5 at the time. He had no idea.
Listen, at that point, though, that's another, 9 years at least? Maybe he can sit around and do nothing at that point.
Right? Maybe. You
never know.
I am a firm believer, though, if they want to take over this business, they have to work through the whole business. They have to see how the ins and outs of everything. So they will start off cleaning if they want to do it. My oldest does windows because we do window washing. So him and my husband will do the windows when we do window washing. But yeah, if they want to take it, they have to know the ins and outs of it. I'm not just going to hand them a business because that's how businesses flap. I think Derek was talking about it at the pro event where the the first generation makes it something massive. The second generation kind of keeps it going, and then by the third generation, the generational wealth is gone because nobody's taught them what to do. They've just been handed it, and I don't want them to be handed anything.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Do you ever see yourself being, and this would be whether or not you hand the business over, but do you ever see yourself being an absentee owner, or do you want to always have your hands in until it's time to maybe fully retire, later down the line?
I think part-time absentee owner. I want to do the things that I want to do. I want to be the face of the company because I love my company. I love doing the networking stuff that I do. I love doing the videos that I do on Facebook and stuff like that. Because like I said in the beginning, my goal is to up-level our industry. I want people to understand that this is a skilled trade. It is not just, like Libby says, Betty with the bucket down the street who's going to come in and ruin everything in your house. Our technicians are smart people. They are trained people. They are very skilled in what they do. And I don't want that to be taken away by the cleaner down the street who's charging $15 an hour and gets hurt on your property or destroys something on your property, or maybe she does a fantastic job. But I think I mentioned it in our last podcast is whenever there is a cheap price, somewhere along the line, somebody is being exploited. So that person that you're hiring for $15 an hour, whether it's a solo cleaner or whether you're hiring Merry Maids and they're only paying them $15 an hour, somebody is getting exploited along the line. And I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want somebody to be exploited on my behalf. I want to hire good people, I want to train good people, and I want people to see this industry as a skilled trade.
I could not agree more. Holly and I have been so passionate about that topic since we were cleaning for another company before we even started the business, you know, because we've all been there. We were the cleaners. I've gotten talked down to so many times. I have had people, and so is Holly, shocked that we have a college degree. I've been told this can't be all you want to do. Even my family members, some of them, a lot of them are very supportive, but a few of them have said, you want to be a maid the rest of your life, go get a real job. We've all heard these things, or it's not rocket science to clean, and it literally breaks my heart that there is this stigma. So Holly and I, before we even started this business, were like, how can we break the stigma? So that's why I think these conversations are so important, and why we always talk about the value of hiring a legitimate company and not Betty with a bucket down the street, because people just don't know what they don't know, and they don't realize. And I'm not afraid to sound arrogant or bratty or whatever the case may be, to push the importance of knowing your worth and charging what you're worth, and not charging what Betty with a bucket charges. I'm sorry.
Right. And there are some amazing solo cleaners out there. I'm not taking anything away from that. I started as a solo cleaner. There are some out there that are doing it right. I'm talking about the ones who are just out there, like, know your worth. You're worth more than $15 an hour. Like, I understand that you're like, oh, but it's money. I just need money. I need money. You're worth more than $15 an hour, and you're going to have people take advantage of you for that. I see some people posting, you know, in the cleaning groups that we're a part of, and they're like, oh, I cleaned this house for 6 hours and I charged $150. That's insane. That is such hard work. And the lifetime of a cleaner too, like, it's hard on your body. Like, you need to make sure that you're being compensated so that you can protect yourself and do the preventative maintenance on your body so that you can continue to clean, you know, for a while.
Yeah, and there's a lot of solo cleaners that are insured too. So it's like, if you're a solo cleaner and you're running a legitimate solo cleaning business, that's amazing. I think that
absolutely
everybody has different dreams and different passions. Some people, they want to be a cleaner. Some people, they want to grow an empire like you and like us. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're doing it the right way.
But the person charging $15 an hour is probably not licensed and insured, because you couldn't afford it.
Exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, if you're doing that and you're licensed and you happen to be licensed and insured and you're buying all of your own supplies, you're taking home, what, $2 an hour? You can't live off of that.
Yeah. 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 You're right. Somebody is always being exploited. And in some cases, it's the homeowner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's hiring the person. Like, people don't realize, like, it's all fun and games until somebody falls down, breaks an ankle in your house, and then they're suing you.
Right.
Yeah.
We had somebody call us a couple weeks ago now that said just that. Her and her sister both had solo cleaners that they, different cleaners that they thought were licensed and insured. And her sister's cleaner fell at her property and hurt herself and is now suing her homeowner's insurance because it turns out she was not insured.
That's horrible. People don't even think to ask the questions too.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope. So
wild.
That's why, like, when we have people call up and they're like, oh my gosh, well, you're way more expensive than everybody else. Okay, yeah, no, we understand. We want you to call around but to make sure you're comparing apples to apples, here are some questions that you need to ask to make sure you're protected. You know, are you licensed and insured? How do you train your people? Are they subcontractors? Are they your employees? If they fall and get hurt on my property, what does that mean? If something gets broken on my property, what does that mean? Like, just protect yourself when you're calling around. If they answer all those questions, yes, and they answer them great, go ahead, go for it. I want you to find the best fit for you, but I want to make sure that you're safe in doing so.
Yeah.
I love that. More. I love the idea of giving them questions to ask. Like, oh, make sure you're asking these. Like, make sure you're vetting them properly.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that, honestly.
If they're calling around to other companies, I want them to make sure they're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that. I love that. This was a really good conversation, but we're nearing an hour now, so we should probably shut up.
I told you that would happen. I was like, Jen, we're not scripted, but we're going to talk and never stop talking, and that's exactly what happened.
It's exactly what happened. But this was my favorite. This was a great episode, but we obviously have to end it with, like, the most super open-ended question that will be so hard to answer because we just love to do this. But if you could give anybody in business, let's narrow it down. If you could give anybody who's starting a business or wants to start a business, whether it's in the cleaning industry or not, one piece of advice, just one, or maybe top two if there's two you think are important, piece of advice that they should know right off the get-go, what would it be?
So my two, because they kind of go together, are start off with a coach in your industry. It's so much easier to build a business the right way than to have to correct mistakes. And the other one is to do it scared. Because when you look at that coach and you look at how much they're charging, it's going to be a lot, but you got to do it scared to get going.
Yeah.
Love that. I freaking love that. We say those two pieces of advice all the time because I think that hiring a coach is so important. And if I could have done that, 7 years ago, I absolutely would have.
Right.
I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dog barking.
Oh, yeah. We hear Monster Maple. We hear.
So sorry. She's had
all
enough.
good.
She's like, it's been an hour. Let me out of this crate, woman.
Maybe she wants to
You've
come on the
talked
pod.
enough.
Well, this has been so great. Real quick, Jen, because I'm sure, like I said, after this conversation, everybody probably is as obsessed with you as we are and wants to go find you. So where's the best place that we could, obviously, where's the best place they can find you on social media? How can they listen to your podcast? Just plug everything if they want to coach with you. What are their steps?
Yeah, so as far as the podcast goes, it's Our Business Shenanigans on all the platforms. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. It's out there everywhere. We also post it on our Facebook page, which again is just Our Business Shenanigans. For the coaching business, it's Profit Pathways. And on Facebook, I'm almost positive it's My Profit Pathways. I should have had that written down.
It's okay. But we'll have you email us after this episode is over. The links and everything will be for our listeners here. They'll be in the description box below and in the show notes. But okay, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Nope, that's fine. So it's the website is myprofitpathways.com. So that one's easy. And then if you want to check out my cleaning business, we are Just Peachy Clean on Facebook, Just Peachy Clean LLC on Instagram. Our website is always justpeachyclean.com. And yeah, I just check us all out. Follow us, DM me. I'll help out as much as I can.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you so much, Jen. This was so fun. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. And I'm sure, don't worry, listeners, this is not the last you've seen of Jen. I'm sure that we will have her back if she accepts.
Anytime. I love it.